Welcome back to Journey of a Ballaholic, the best talk show for basketball addicts. I'm your host, General Hannibal X. Now, on this journey, we're going to be discussing my top 10 centers in the entire NBA. Now, if you saw my last videos, I broke down my top 10 point guards. We went over shooting guards, small forwards, and power forwards. Listen, I'm a ballaholic. I'm absolutely addicted to basketball. Now, just like everybody, I've got my own opinions. But if you like opinions that are backed by facts, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, but also be sure that you hit that bell notification so that YouTube will update you whenever I drop new videos.
Are you ready?
Okay, let's go ahead and jump right into this top 10 center list, but before we go over the top 10, I've got to cover my honorable mention list. This right here, guys like Christian Wood, Jonas Valanciunas, we got Steven Adams. I mean, these are some of the best centers in the game that unfortunately they just missed that cut. Even guys like Miles Turner, so some of the best defensive and offensive centers in the game, but unfortunately, the top 10 is the cream of the crop. Now, coming in at number 10, I had to start this list off with DeAndre Ayton. Young center, absolutely, but he's skilled on both ends of the court. Right now, he's one of the players who's got the Phoenix Suns in that playoff hunt out west. And if it wasn't for DeAndre Ayton holding that paint down, being able to give you about 14 points a game, 10, 11, 12 rebounds a game, being able to be an anchor on the defensive end, they wouldn't be where they are. Okay, coming in at number 9, I've got to go with Clint Capella. Clint Capella, to me right now, is one of the more underrated centers in the NBA. Now, we all saw his time in Houston, but now that he's over with the Atlanta Hawks, he's got these young Hawks trying to fight for a playoff position. Right now, he's leading the entire NBA, 14.6 rebounds a game, and he's got the Hawks in a position where they can actually, with this young squad, make the playoffs. So I got to go with Clint Capella coming in at number 9. Now, for number 8, this guy right here, the nickname is perfect. The Unicorn. Kristaps Porzingis, though he's dealt with a lot of injury history, I gotta put him in number 8 because he's so skilled. Literally, there's nothing Kristaps can't do, unfortunately maybe other than just staying healthy, but when it comes to being able to be a rim protector at 7'3", he does that. When it comes to being able to put the ball on the floor, drive past somebody, he can do that. Can he post up? Absolutely. Can he shoot from the outside? Absolutely. There's nothing in the game that Kristaps can't do. That's why his nickname, the Unicorn, is absolutely fitting for him. Now, coming in at number 7, I gotta go with Vucevic. Listen, Vucevic for the Orlando Magic, he's been one of the more consistent, more steady 2010 guys in the NBA for a couple years now. Now, Vucevic is not as highly touted as some of these other guys because defensively he leaves a lot to be desired. But offensively, from a guy who's got a consistent mid-range, who can step out to the three-point shot, who's a big load down in the blocks, who can go over either the left or the right shoulder with those hook shots, like Vucevic gives you what you need. But the reason I put him over Kristaps is consistency. And not just consistency, availability. You gotta be on the court to be able to be one of the best guys in the game. So Vucevic comes in at number 7 over Kristaps, mainly for the reason that he gives you what you need because the best ability is availability. Now, let's go ahead and move over to number 6. Now, this guy right here is one of the best big men. It's when it comes to glass cleaners, when it comes to rebounding, Andre Drummond. Without question, to me, he's almost like the Dennis Rodman of the 2020s. Drummond, this year's not leading the NBA rebounding, which he's done many years in a row, but Drummond is still giving you ridiculous numbers, 14 rebounds, but he's giving you a career high 18.6 points per game. So he's bringing his offense along while still being a defensive dominating glass cleaner, and he also gets on that offensive glass as well, giving his team second chance points. Keep an eye on him for a possible buyout candidate and or trade candidate at the deadline because it's a lot of teams that need a big man who can clean the glass like Andre Drummond. Okay, so now as we move into the top 5, I gotta start off number 5 with Bam Adebayo. Listen, man, he's one of the best big men in the game. He showed last year that he could take assisting and take his team to the finals. And everybody remembers that amazing block that he had to help get the Miami Heat past the Boston Celtics. Listen, man, Bam, 20 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, a career high, mind you, 5 assists per game. And he's got these young boys. This year, they're struggling. I have to say they're struggling, and I want to see more from Bam. But listen, Bam is one of the best two-way big men in the game. There's no question about that. We got to see him stay healthy, and we got to see him be more consistent. But Bam is everything you could ask for from a young guy who's still getting better, hasn't even hit his prime yet. So Bam Adebayo comes in at number 5. Now, number 4. This is where things start getting to where we're getting to the elite of all the elite, the cream of the crop, right? Coming in at number 4, I got Rudy Gobert, man. Rudy Gobert averaging a career high. Now, this is a 2-time defensive player of the year, mind you. Rudy Gobert is averaging a career high 2.7 blocks per game. And he's got the Utah Jazz, him and Donovan Mitchell, they've got Utah sitting with the best record in the NBA at 19-5. 19-5 is what the Utah Jazz is, and they're one of the best defensive teams. Why? Because Rudy Gobert is an anchor among all anchors. Rudy Gobert comes in at number 4. Okay, so now we went to the top 3. I gotta put Karl Towns. I gotta give some shout out to Karl Towns because though he's dealing with some injury right now, we know he's had a rough offseason. This is still a young man whose talent is otherworldly. I mean, to me, he's just not in the right situation with the right franchise, but he's a career 39.6% shooter from 3, and Karl Towns is one of those guys unique and similar to Kristaps Porzingis, where he can defend the rim, he can rebound the ball, he can push it on for rebounds, he can score inside and outside of offense. He's technically a unicorn as well, a better version of Kristaps. But right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves are just they're sputtering. They're sputtering, and Karl Towns not being there is truly hurting their potential. But despite all of that, I gotta put Karl Towns at number 3 because the talent level is just too high, man. It's not many guys that have the total package like Karl Towns. Okay, so that leaves us with the last 2 centers. Now, there's no question who those 2 centers are. The only question is, how do you rank them? Who's number 2 and who's number 1? Who is the best center in the NBA? Well, for me, it's tough, right? Because from one game to the next game, they both look like they're the best centers in the game. But I gotta pick one. So the guy who's gonna come in number 2 is a guy that can do it all, just like the number 1 center. The only issue, and this is what I mentioned before, availability. The best ability is availability. And there's one question with one of these guys, and that's injury history. That's Joel Embiid. He comes in at number 2, not from a talent standpoint, not even from a production standpoint. He comes in number 2 because we have to question, how long does this go? How long can the Sixers ride him, who right now is 17-7, the best record in the Eastern Conference, thankfully to Joel Embiid, who right now is one of the top 2 MVP candidates in the NBA. But how long can how long can he carry this team on his shoulders? We have to wait and see. Right now, he's having a career-high 29 points per game, and he's just absolutely dominating. But he comes in at number 2. The number 1 center for me has got to be Nikola Jokic. Jokic right now, the Joker, he's the best center in the game, man. He literally does it all. When you're talking about a guy who's giving you 27 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, and over 8 assists, listen, he's doing what only Wilt Chamberlain has been able to do. When you're putting yourself in a category that only Wilt Chamberlain is in, you know you're an elite competition, an elite level talent-wise. Jokic is just a triple-double monster, man. Like, think about 27, 11, and 8 as a center. That's just insane numbers, man. And so I've got to put Jokic as the number 1 center, despite the Nuggets not being as good record-wise as some would have thought coming out the gate. But listen, it's because of Jokic that they are where they are, still in the thick of things in the Western Conference. So who do you have as your top 10 centers? Do you agree or disagree with my list? Let me know in the comment section below. Listen, I appreciate you for taking a look at this video. If you missed any of my previous videos where I broke down my top 10 power forwards in the game, go ahead and click the box right here. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that and do that now. Until next time, be safe in the streets. General Hannibal X, I'm out. Peace.